What is going on? This is the home to the lamest taste, the Vinyl Casket. Check me out on Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. All one word, the Vinyl Casket. We subscribe, like, and comment, hit the bell for much, much, much more. This is a book review, a Vinyl Casket book review. Check out the playlist for all the other ones. We are checking out my latest finish. This is the first book I finished in 2025. Brandon Sanderson's Elantris, his first ever published independent, in his first published novel. I believe he might have done like some other work or worked on some other stuff that wasn't published yet, but this is what he notes as his first published work. It is the first book in the Cosmere, as well as being something he tells people might be his most difficult read. You can see that check out the reviews, check out everything. You know that I've already read the first 3 books of the Elantris trilogy, of the original Mistborn Era 1 trilogy. I am currently just started Tress of the Emerald Sea. This book is difficult because you could tell his writing skill, like when you read Mistborn Era 1, Mistborn Book 1, and then you read 2 and 3, you can see his writing evolve in front of you. This book was a huge step back from even the first Mistborn. And while I do truly enjoy this book, I really enjoyed this book, it took a really long time to get going. It took a really long time for me to latch on and be interested and locked in. It was very slow paced. It was a slow burn. But the back half of this book, part 3 of this book, was really good. Part 3 of this book was the best part of the book, was the best chapters of the book, and there's obvious reasons why. Up until that point, basically, you are in a revolving cycle of chapters revolving on 3 different characters. I don't know if I'm pronouncing any of them right, but you have Raoden, Saline, and the evil priest guy. Say it on here because I cannot pronounce any of those names. In my head, I made them sound however I wanted them to sound. But no, I don't think Raoden, Serene, and Hrathen. It's HR. I don't know what that sounds even supposed to make. HR. Hrathen. These are the 3 characters, and you go in that specific order of Raoden, Serene, and then Hathrin. In that order. Every single chapter is revolving. It's one chapter for that, one chapter for that, one chapter for that, then back to that guy. And there's parts where like getting through the Hathrin chapters were awful. And then there's a part like halfway through the book where his chapters shorten and you're like, oh, thank God. I was. Raoden's chapters get really interesting. Serene's chapters are like interesting. Then they get really long, and then they eventually get interesting again. Hathrin's don't get interesting until like towards the end of the book. The last part of the book, though, there is that order is thrown out the window, and basically you're just jumping through each chapter. You're jumping through multiple perspectives of people that weren't even main characters and the main characters. That made it really a quick read. Like the back half of that book was just lightning fast, but getting to part 2 was like the biggest struggle. I'm a slow reader. I'm not like, I don't read fast. I don't comprehend fast. I have to reread some stuff. And I do most of my reading on the train in the morning, on the train home, because I work in the city doing construction. So I basically try to jam in a chapter, and these chapters were from the beginning of the book up until like towards the end. Every chapter was like 20 plus pages long, and I was just like, this is a struggle for me because I want to bang out multiple chapters, but I'm struggling to even get through one chapter because I'm half asleep. On the way home, I'm like making up for what I didn't get done in the morning, and then not getting as much done as I would. You know, that's my only gripe. And he's acknowledged that his writing skill has severely surpassed this. And reading this, holy cannoli, I'm only like 4 or 5 chapters in, and I'm flying through it because it's just it's a better, his storytelling has improved a lot. His use of words and his flow is improved. And this is one of the more recent books, and this is his first book, and you can tell that. But it's good. It's a good story. It's good characters. The development is there. I don't feel like he skimped on anyone's development. I don't think he left anything out. I feel like his attention to detail was great, and the story was great. I just feel like it was a really slow burn. And coming off of Mistborn, I wasn't I was used to a more consistent pacing, and this was like a very slowed down pacing. But you could tell it's still good writing. It's still a good story. It's still, the end of this book was great. Like the finale of this book, I was just like, oh, I had a blast. And my friend Rob is currently just started this, and he could tell, he's just like, yeah, you weren't relying. Like it's the chapter cycling really slows it down because if you don't like Hathrin, you're not going to want to read his chapter, and his chapter's coming up. So as Serene's chapter's picking up, you're really enjoying it. You're going to not enjoy the next chapter, so you don't want to get there, or you want to skip through it, and then that's the longest chapter for the. I didn't like that. I didn't like the predictability of the cycling. That's my biggest gripe. Besides that, I love this. Basically, Elantris, if you want to get down to it, you get thrown into a world where you got a lot of history there of like what it was, what this country was, and something happened, and then all these godlike people are gone, and the thing that would turn people into these gods is now making them basically zombies, and everyone's locking them into the city that used to be this capital. They've made the capital outside. The other 3 cities are basically destroyed, and this invading force of this crazy opposing religion in another country has basically taken over all the other countries except for 2. And then they are sending one of their lead priests to try to convert. Okay, one of the merchants took over, has been ruling for 10 years. His son, the prince that is basically against him, is like a good guy who's like, no, dad, like you're a shitty person. Wakes up one morning and he got converted and turned into a zombie god, and is now under the rug, swept away. His arranged wife, his arranged marriage, which is the princess of the other country that hasn't gotten converted, shows up that day or the next day to surprise him and start planning their wedding. And finds out that he's dead. When he's not, he's actually locked away in Elantris, where he's basically goes throughout the book, converts these 3 crazy street gangs into one organized new Elantris city, and secretly is rebuilding against and rediscovering the power that these beings once had. While the Hathrin guy is trying to convert, and so Serene is trying to organize everything, get everything, and slowly all 3 storylines mix up to them all helping each other out. And basically, we stop the overthrow and converting. We stop these demon creatures that show up out of nowhere. We unlock the Elantris powers and the capital. It's a really good ending. I can't wait. I know there's rumors that there's going to be a sequel. I don't know. It's got to be spaced away, but it was so good. I enjoyed this so much at the end, and the ending made all the stuff that you thought you were suffering through matter, and you no longer felt like you were suffering. You felt like it all paid off. So it had a really good payoff at the end. It was a really good book. Out of 5, I'm going to give this a 4. Not anything more than a 4. I think that it needs, because of how I ranked all the the Mistborn books are all like 5s or like 4.9s in my opinion. those first three, I'm only going to give this a 4. While it's really good and it's an exceptional book, I do not believe it is even close to Mistborn. And that is my review. Stay tuned because obviously this will be the next one. Elantris by Brandon Sanderson, 4 out of 5. Get in the comments. Stay tuned to the Instagram for my write-up review on that, my small mini write-up review. This is the Home to Lamest Taste, the Vinyl Casket. You check me out on Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube, and TikTok, where you subscribe, like, and comment, hit the bell for much more. Do me a massive favor and stay lame.